All right, here we go. We got the story from Newsweek. Suspicious package detonated ahead of Utah State Turning Point USA event. Utah State University ordered emergency evacuation Tuesday of its old main building after a suspicious package was found, university officials and local media reported. The campus was cleared as law enforcement and bomb squads investigated the device. We've actually got this video. This is crazy. Check this out. So, Jack, what happened?
Yeah, so what you're hearing there is the police. I'm not sure exactly if it was local police or campus. There were a lot of units and various agencies that were there protecting the Turning Point event. But what you're hearing is them using a device to render it safe and neutralize whatever would have been inside. What I've been told so that was not the bomb exploding or something like that. What I've been told is that it looks like this was a hoax bomb device. So this was not just a suspicious package that was left out. It was actually a package that had some, wires associated with it, things like that, where it was designed to look like a bomb. And that also there was a bomb threat called into the campus at the same time, so concurrent. And what it looks like is that they were trying to get a full campus-wide evacuation and then a lockdown to try to interfere with the Turning Point event that was taking place. Now, that old main building, that is not the building where the Turning Point event is going on and will continue to go on, which is on the other end of campus. That building is under complete lockdown by, as I just said, we've got state, local, federal agencies that are there protecting the event and the students today. So because that was under such lockdown, it seems that whoever was trying to do this didn't have any access to the arena where that's taking place. And what they instead did was try to attack another building that didn't have the same security posture and use that to try to create this disturbance. So while that building was evacuated, the event's going on, everybody is safe. First responders, absolutely hats off to everybody that was willing to put themselves into harm's way to do what they did to take measures to make sure that that device was in fact not an explosive device, keep everybody safe. But just unfortunately, that's the times that we're living in. And I also heard that report as well, that there were other universities around Utah, not where Turning Point's holding events. We're only holding one event tonight. We've got Alex Clark, we've got the governor there. So of course, state police are out in full force, a number of other officials. And so, and we had people who were even inside that event who didn't know about the bomb threat. So we called in, hey guys, are you all right? It said, all right from what? We're just out here and they've got volunteers, putting placards up and putting signs on chairs and things like that. So we'll let them know what was going on. They said no. And then, we've been able to sort of back channel since then, but it looks like something went on where multiple campuses around the state had threats.
Did you guys see? You did. I know you did. But Steven Crowder has brought back "Change My Mind." Yeah. And he went out today. He posted a video of this. It's brave to say the least. But Steven told me something a week or so ago. We did like an hour-long show together, and he said he feels bad. He feels guilty because when he was doing these events, he did not explain the threats and the violence he was facing. He downplayed it. And I think largely the reason he and many others, especially on the right, have not spoken about the threats and the violence they face is because we are constantly told you don't want to feed it. If you come out and you say these things are happening, you're going to make it worse. And what ends up happening is Crowder does these events. He rarely, only when it's on camera, when it actually happens, does he talk about it, and usually he doesn't. The same thing is true for us. Like I've been saying, we had that year where we got swatted 15 times. Yeah. It's never stopped. We just don't talk about it anymore because security says it's probably not a good idea. But the problem then is the perception most people have is, oh, they're fine. Nothing's really going on. And now, how has it gotten to the point where we are once again opening a show talking about a man that we miss who was taken from us by violent psychopath terrorists, and another event Turning Point's trying to put on to talk to people. This is very obvious that someone did this to try and shut your event down. It gets to this point, I think, with all due respect to each and every one of us who's been involved in this, because I don't think we talk about the seriousness of the threats we face enough out of concern we'd make it worse. In fact, that just allowed it to grow and fester and get worse.
There were, just to confirm what you're saying, there were Charlie was getting death threats on a regular basis, even when, he calls the summer kind of like his off season, because that's when, school's out of session, but he would get threats all the time. Obviously, you guys are here. You've seen the security posture, which we have upped at the Turning Point facility since this took place. And in fact, we were in the process of, reconfiguring and enhancing and escalating the security presence here on the Turning Point campus, and you guys, I'm sure we don't have to go into it right now, but I'm sure you saw all the security that we have out now, the 24/7, the monitoring, the technical, and even stuff that you don't see. So Charlie was in the process of doing that here locally, hardening this facility when this happened. And so people were saying, oh, how come there's construction going on? It's like, well, no, we were in the process of doing that when we lost him, when he was murdered. And so this has been something that has gone on. Now, obviously, look, people have seen publicly, though, that people like when Riley Gaines was essentially detained by Antifa, a couple of years back, when Olivia Kralchik was attacked on campus, when Charlie has gone to events on campus and there's been these huge attacks, call it Antifa, call it left-wing groups, whatever you will. These are clearly coordinated violent events that were going on, and it just wasn't taken seriously. It wasn't taken seriously, I think, by law enforcement in general. Obviously, the previous administration didn't have any interest in going up against these groups, and in many cases facilitated these groups, and they still will sit there and claim that these things don't exist when we still have to deal with it on a regular basis.
They're celebrating it now.
Yeah.
They're either celebrated or defending the motivating ideology and the lies and the smears. Jack was mentioning, you got asked if we were in a civil war. Here goes Tim Pool saying civil war again. Everybody drink.
Yeah, we did that. We did that CNN interview. Like, see where that white dot is over there on the floor? That's pretty much where I was sitting.
I don't know how this, as Phil Labonte says, there's no off ramp. There, and it's fascinating. The response was, especially after Charlie was killed, that Charlie was the off ramp. He was going out and saying, "Let's talk about it," and he was talking with a lot of run-of-the-mill libs who were asking him questions. And I think this is what was so scary and is scary to these libs and these leftists, is that once people actually got a chance to talk to Charlie, they were like, oh, okay, this is not crazy. These are not far right. These are not a threat. And this is one of the motivating factors for why I think they want to stop these Turning Point events.
I mean, you look at it, right, and it's this idea of, well, people would sit there and say, and people do this all the time. They'll say, oh, well, Charlie said something on one of your podcasts, or he said something about MLK, and I know the whole litany of things that they say, and it's always out of context. But the point being is that even if you disagree with Charlie, or even if you think that he got his facts wrong or something, what better place to hash that out than in a literal conversation on a college campus.
Right.
I mean, this is the modern and classical public square. We're going to be on campus. He titled these things, prove me wrong, as in and if you disagreed, and I know it's been said, but it really needs to be pounded in, that if you disagreed with him, he would say, please come to the front of the line. And if people started heckling, he'd be like, hey, stop that. Yep. No heckling. If someone was nervous, if they were reading, he would say, it's okay. Take your time.
He'd say, let's afford them the grace they don't afford us.
Let's do that. I mean, there is nothing else he could have done to try to facilitate this kind of debate. And as Tim, to your point as well, I know you've talked about so many times that it's so hard to find people on the other side who are willing to even sit down and debate like that. You can't get them.
If you have money. We send out emails all the time, and the response from libs is usually how much. And so we don't ever give money or accept money for people to come on this show, because
I was about to say, man, I've been on the show how many times? Where's my money, Tim?
Wait, people are getting paid?
Wait, you're getting paid? Luke, what's going on, bro?
Nope. And so this is intentional. We don't let people buy their way on, which there are some shows that do. A big company will be like, hey, we'll give you money if you give us a guest spot. We don't do that. And there's and the inverse of trying to pay people to come on shows. When we email, they ask for money. We say we'll cover travel and accommodation. We don't pay. They say not interested. Yep. And I'm like, okay, I guess. Sometimes there's some people who will, but they're usually smaller and they're trying to find a way to get attention. The big name guys, I think what I think about the liberals? I think their high priests are largely just what will get me clicks and make me money. Mm-hmm. And so they don't actually want to have a debate. Why is it? who was it? I think Bill Maher did a segment on this where he said, he's like, we've reached out to the Clintons, to the Obamas. They won't come on the show to sit down with the guy who voted for him. But the conservatives are begging to come on.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact that they're already...
Charlie went on Bill Maher. It was one of his last big, like, cross the aisle kind of interviews. He went on Gavin Newsom as well.
And I think that's why Bill Maher made the statements he did just a few days ago, saying, hey, this left-wing violence is insane and it's crazy. He's one of the few people that actually is speaking out against it. John Fetterman as well. He just came out and talked about how left-wing terrorism is at a 30-year high. And he's demanding people stop calling conservatives Hitler and fascists. So this has been building and brewing for a very long time. Tim, you've been calling it out. I know I've been looking at this for a very long time. Ever since Occupy Wall Street, they were playing up on these type of differences amongst race. And when we see Ilhan Omar a couple years ago now issuing the same lines like Don Lemon talking about how evil white men are, this brings up, even though they love white men and are married to white men themselves,
Yeah, that's true.
colonizing the sheets. These individuals clearly are spreading a rhetoric that is meant to dehumanize people. It's meant to devalue them. It's meant to destroy conversations from ever happening because you're Hitler, you're fascist, you're supposed to be someone that's going to be killing me and hurting me. That's their type of emotionally manipulated, gaslit type of viewpoint, which is deranged and insane and only going to become more deranged, especially with all the SSRIs and seed oils that they take. That's going to destroy their guts, and their gut lining is going to be destroyed, and then their minds are going to be destroyed.
And then you look at John Fetterman. I wish he would have had some more words for Josh Shapiro in the city of Philadelphia, where they just flew the flag of China over the city yesterday.
Yeah. Well, and it was like you were saying earlier, I mean, the fact that it's like pulling teeth to get them to even show up to these debates just shows that there's already been this culture on the left of just giving up on civil discourse anyway. So it's not really a surprise that they're getting more and more violent, especially now with the Trump administration. They feel like they're in the back foot. They feel like they're cornered. Of course they're going to lash out because there's already this culture of giving up on civil discourse.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.